Welcome to the second virtual online Washington All Missions Academy. The topic of my class today will be National Cadet Special Activities for both senior members and cadets. I have a wonderful group of assistant presenters that will be giving an in-depth view on specific NCSAs, so stay tuned for that. During my class, I will be giving a short outlook on all the NCSAs that I could find that are available to us through CAP National, as well as showing you guys the application process, giving you tips and tricks on applying, and showing you where to find all of this great information. So without further ado, here's my presentation. So a little bit about me. I am Cadet Major Julius H. Sholey. I'm from the Renton Composite Squadron of Washington Wing. And so far in my journey as a cadet, I have attended two NCSAs. These being a National Flight Academy, Desert Eagle specifically, courtesy of Washington Wing, and National Cadet Competition. So as you can see here, there's some photos from me at Desert Eagle as well as me at National Competition, and here's a photo of me with General Marky Smith. So that was definitely a highlight of that NCSA. So, what is an NCSA? For those of you who don't know, NCSA stands for National Cadet Special Activity. And the mission of NCSAs are to provide training and learning to different cadets in different areas. So, one thing that I found great about CAP is that everyone in CAP doesn't have the same interests. Everybody's in CAP for a different reason. Personally, I joined for the aviation aspects, and I know that is something that a lot of cadets have in common. Specifically just from the cadets that attended last month's presentation on the flight scholarships and flight activities. But I will be focusing, like Lieutenant Colonel Wiggs said, on all the other aspects of NCSAs, including flight aspects. So I have many cadet friends who are in the CAP for, let's say, cyber reasons or emergency services. And because of NCSAs, there is a specific location where you can go to find like-minded cadets and study things that you are interested in. So that's a great reason to participate in NCSAs because there's specific activities tailored to your individual wants and desires. Some of these include National Emergency Services Academy, or NESA, which specializes in emergency services training and field rescue and things like that. There's Search and Rescue Academies, Cadet Officer Schools for Leadership. There's Honor Guard and Color Guard Academies and competitions, and then Flight Academies, of course. So during my presentation, I will give you guys a brief outlook over many, many of the different activities, so stay tuned for that. I will begin my presentation talking about who are NCSAs for. So contrary to the name National Cadet Special Activities, they're also available to senior members, and this is something I didn't know as a cadet, and this is something I recently learned. But of course, NCSAs are tailored for cadets, and some of the requirements to attend NCSAs are very different. Some have age requirements and rank requirements, but most of them you will find have a requirement that is a basic encampment. So going to most like flight academies and search and rescue academies, you've had to attend a basic encampment. An example of this is either Winter Raptor or Cascade Falcon. So moving on to age requirements and rank requirements, this is dependent on the activity. So I would highly suggest when you are researching NCSAs and different activities, you look at age requirements and rank requirements, because it would be a shame to sign up for an activity and then find you're not eligible to attend that activity, because having built up that hope that you go to that activity, it would be a real disappointment not to be able to go. So one thing I will urge all of you to do throughout my presentation is take the information I give you and then use Google, use the CAP website to find more information on the activities you guys want to attend. Because I've only been to two NCSAs. I know a lot about NCSAs because I've been a cadet for 3 years and had the opportunity to go to many of them and learn about many of them. But I'm not infallible. I make mistakes. So some of the information I give you on the NCSAs might be incorrect because they're just a product of what I've learned. And of course, my logic and judgment could be fouled. So again, make sure you guys are looking at age requirements and rank requirements when you're signing up for NCSAs, so you know which NCSAs you can attend, as well as which NCSAs you want to attend, because again, NCSAs have all different topics of knowledge and leadership skills So it is important you go to the ones that you want to go to. The senior member side of NCSAs are a little bit different. Like most senior member aspects of the cadet programs, they're there to help us learn and help us develop as leaders and as authorities to know different aspects of knowledge, whether it be aviation or emergency services. So they're there to promote cadet development, and they most likely serve as staff. But there are some activities which senior members can take a followership role in and learn about different activities and different subjects such as emergency services. So one of these that comes to mind is NISA, which has a very heavily senior member training program. So if you know senior members who are into search and rescue and field activities, definitely promote these to them, as well as cadets who have uh, the desire to do each of these activities. So one thing that I want to cover before I give you guys a presentation on which NCSAs are and what they are for, I just want to talk a little bit about how NCSAs are going to be affected by COVID. So as you guys can tell, we're in a pandemic. That's why we are online right now. And hopefully you guys weren't too affected by the effects this had on CAP, but I know I was. Personally, I was signed up for Powered for Desert Eagle for the 2019 summer. And because of COVID, of course, that activity was canceled. But thanks to the lots of senior members that put time and effort into that, they developed an online ground school. So I still was able to attend that and learn lots of valuable information. So I will be covering more about that later, as well as Captain Ferreira. She will be talking about Desert Eagle and National Flight Academies as a whole. But right now, as you guys have probably seen, if you have been paying attention to NCSAs, the NCSA list was just published, I believe, on the 7th, and there are still NCSAs rolling out. So if you have signed up for NCSAs and you think you're done, you're probably not, because I know an example of this is the Washington Flight Academy is not yet listed on the NCSA website. So if you're signing up for NCSAs, make sure you guys are staying aware of which ones you want to sign up for in case they're not published yet and have yet to be published. So hopefully all of the summer NCSAs and spring NCSAs of the 2021 year will happen. If not, lots of NCSAs have gone online. Most of the leadership symposiums and leadership schools have gone online, and we'll be talking about that in a little bit. But hopefully, like I said, most NCSAs will not be affected by COVID, hopefully, because I know there's talk of a vaccine coming out in late December. So hopefully we will be able to attend all the events that we would like to when the time comes. Right now, okay, where you can find NCSAs and other CAP activities. So I'm going to click on this link and I'm going to need your guys' help. Can you guys see the website that is on the screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So if you go to the civilairpatrol.com and go to the cadet activities portion, you will see this photo of cadets standing in front of this plane. And if you scroll down a little bit, there's a little graph here that shows potential career pathways. And so this is a tool that's available to everyone. It's very, very useful. You guys can see they have different activities split up between different career paths, such as aviation, military, and technology. And so some of the activities they have listed for first year cadets and second year cadets, they're split up between ages. So hopefully you guys, when you progress in the program, you will get more activities at your disposal. So you want to make sure you're staying in the program, increasing your knowledge and working hard for those promotions, because promotions and rank will have a benefit on you being slotted for NCSAs. Again, I will talk about that later. But so just some of the first year activities, you know, orientation flights, encampment, aviation 101 by Embry-Riddle. These are all activities that are pretty readily available for cadets who haven't been in the program long. These are activities that you should get under your belt for experience, as well as because they're offered by CAP. But once you go to your second year of Civil Air Patrol, your third year, you will have NCSAs at your disposal. Again, look at grade requirements and rank requirements for those, because that plays effect on how you are slotted and which activities you can attend. But as you guys can see, aviation activities and NCSAs such as National Flight Academies for Powered and Glider, National Blue Beret, which again, we will have a cadet talk about, and just all these different activities right here for second level cadets. This is again a great resource for you guys to use. So when you're researching which NCSAs you want to attend, definitely use this. Again, it's just go civil-air-patrol.com, programs, and then cadet activities. So going back to my PowerPoint, that is where you can find a list of some of the NCSAs and CAP activities. Oh, excuse that. Okay, where can you find the 2021 NCSAs? So this is a very, very good tool. If you think the other tool was useful, this is going to be exponentially more useful. Just go to ncsa.com and it'll bring you to Go Civil Air Patrol, programs, cadet activities, and then you go to National Cadet Special Activities, and it will show you this page. So right now, these are the activities that are listed. Usually there are more activities than that, but being that COVID has happened and they are still coming out, this is what is available right now. As you guys can see, the different dates are lined up here, so you can schedule which activities you'll be able to attend. They have the category, for example, leadership, flight, technology, things of that nature. The name, Civic Leadership Academy, National Character and Leadership Symposium, that'll be found here. Location, as you can see, some of them are virtual, so these probably won't be affected by COVID as much as National Flight Academies, which of course are in person. And then location here, age requirements. This is a good thing to pay attention to because you don't want to be a 17-year-old cadet signing up for this and then not being able to attend. For requirements such as that, you might be able to contact them and then talk to them and say, hey, I'm under the minimum age. Would I still be able to attend? This is not usually something that you should do, but if you're a special circumstance, they might let you in. And then, of course, the cost here for National Cadet Special Activities. One thing that all of these NCSAs have in common is that they're going to be way cheaper than if you try and do it outside the CAP program. For example, National Flight Academies, the point of those are for you to solo, and being able to solo or getting the chance to solo for just $800 is way better than if you were to go to a flight school and say, with 1 hour lessons, how much time and how much would I have to pay to be able to solo? You're looking at probably double or triple that $800. So again, Civil Air Patrol offers lots of great benefits, and one of those are NCSAs. But utilizing the special features, you can specifically look for NCSAs that you want to go to. So like I said, I am interested in aviation. And location, since I know the Washington wing one is not posted yet, there's no way to select Washington, so I'm just going to leave that blank. Start date and end date, that has been confirmed. I do not know that off the top of my head. And state, of course, is not going to be there, and name is not going to be there. So if I search age, this should bring up all the aviation-related National Cadet Special Activities. So as you can see, of course, Aviation, Aircraft Maintenance, and Manufacturing Academy. So this is not flight. I believe there is a flight one. So that's for flight academies. This is more for aviation-focused non-flight activities. But if I were interested in seeing all the different flight academies because I want to know what times to set my schedule free so I can attend these, you just select flight, and then this will show you all of the different flight opportunities and flight NCSAs that are listed here. So again, this is a great tool, especially when the amount of NCSAs goes to like 4 or 5 pages. If you want to search for the specific ones as well as learn information about each activity, this is a great tool. But now that that has been completed, I will of course go over how to sign up NCSAs, but that'll be a little bit later. Now we're going to start the cadet and senior member presentations. So these are cadets that have and senior members that have experience with these specific NCSAs. So questions should be geared towards them. A little bit after their presentations, I'll just be going over some different NCSAs. And like I said before, I'm not a 100% accurate resource of all these different activities. So if I get things wrong or can't answer your questions, please don't blame me. Hopefully I should have a good grasp on the different activities and questions. But again, I urge you guys to do your own research, find out all the information you can, especially rank and age requirements. That's something I'm going to drill into you guys a lot because it's very important that you know which activities you can go to and which activities you want to go to. But I will hand it over to Lieutenant Colonel Maxwell for Cadet Officer School.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Good. Cadet Officer School. First of all, I'm Kathy Maxwell, Lieutenant Colonel Kathy Maxwell. I'm the Activities Officer for Washington Wing, as well as a member of Columbia Basin Composite Squadron, and as well as a Chief Instructor at WAMA, Washington All-Mission Academy. I asked to help out with this activity because I'm probably the only person in the wing who's attended COS maybe like 5 or 6 times. Once as a cadet, and it was a very profound experience for me. And then the other 5 or 6 times as actually as a senior member. So I'm just going through the slide. Let me just say the mission of a Cadet Officer School is to contribute to the mature cadets and responsible citizens and introduce them to strategic perspectives in leadership. And you will find that they are not teaching this to a 14, 15-year-old standpoint. They are teaching this to a 17 or 18-year-old maturity and understanding of world events. As the pictures go, on your left-hand corner there, you start many things in the auditorium, a lot of lectures. And these lectures are given by top-notch people with doctorates, people with very high military rank. They are taught to pretty much the same standards that they teach squadron officers school to the military captains. Okay. And it's actually in the same school, the same seminar rooms. It's very, very, you can see the dorms behind the volleyball team there on the bottom right-hand corner. You're at Maxwell Air Force Base and you are living a military life as a cadet officer. Once you have your lectures, you usually break over into your seminar rooms, kind of on that right-hand picture there. Your seminar is probably 10 to 12 people strong. You're listening in the lecture, you're going and discussing and arguing and debating in these seminars. That's the fun part. A lot of hands-on training, a lot of problem solving, and then there is a lot of also free time. This is, again, down below, you're going to see, when I say free time, is it really free? Probably not. Okay, you're going to be doing a lot of reading, you're going to be doing a lot of writing speeches, you're going to be writing a lot of papers. You are going to be very, very busy, and you're going to be having seminar team projects to work on also. Volleyball isn't a very important part. They use that for our strategic thinking of how to, you start watching the other teams, and that's what are their weak spots, just much like you would if you were going to wage war on another country, say, or something. So it puts into play all the things that they're actually teaching you too. Now on the senior side, that's, like I say, the part I've had most experience in. Although I will say, as a cadet, it was a profound chance for me to really get out and see a college level course and live a college lifestyle, back there at 17 years old. So it gave me a view of what I could expect in future years. Now, senior wise, if this probably has 15 to 20 senior members that work Cadet Officer School, and it has another 15 reservists that pair up. So every one of those seminars has a CAP and a reserve seminar leader. And so as a seminar leader, as a senior member, you are, of course, having access to all those speakers, and those are really top-notch speakers. Even if you hear them year after year after year, you're always learning something new. The concepts, it's perfect training for a wing commander or, say, a wing cadet programs personnel. That's exactly who this is geared towards. Just going down, look at my pictures over here on the left-hand top. The one in the center, Joe Winter, is a wing commander, I believe, of Delaware or close, one of those states very close there. He's also part of the new senior training university. Second one over here, you're going to see Colonel Ned Lee is the one presenting at that seminar or in that lecture. But you'll notice all across the back and down the aisles, you're going to see senior members sitting in there. You're learning, you're actually, one of the main skills they want our senior members to have is to be a good mentor and to be able to work well with cadets. So they look for things such as that you've completed TLC, either the basic, advanced, or intermediate. So they just want to make sure that you're working the cadet program and understand that. And they also want to make sure that your ability to work with cadets and your professionalism is top notch. Down in the volleyball section, a lot of senior members. I don't know if anybody recognizes that front guy standing there with the green notepad. Hands, yeah, do we know who that is? Okay, that's our new region commander. So again, these are people that I know on a personal level, because 5 or 6 years ago, these people were still working cadet officer school. Bottom line, that's that CAP officer working with the reservist. Again, great networking possibilities for senior members, a great learning opportunity for senior members. You should be also good at English, and because those papers those cadets write, you are going to be critiquing those, as will their other cadets in the seminar. COS costs this year $375. That is a huge bargain. You will have to get yourself there from transportation cost. It has a minimum age of 16 for students. You have to be 16 by the time the activity happens. And you also have to have the Mitchell before you can apply. So they want to make sure you have the Mitchell by, what is that, 15 January, I think is the deadline, but you could wait and be 16 by July. Anything else I can answer for anybody on COS? Great opportunity. I highly recommend it.
All right, if there are no questions, I will take back the class, I guess. And there's a few things I want to mention before I go on to the next presenters, some things I forgot. Like Colonel Maxwell said, signups for NCSAs do close January 15th. So you have about 3 days over a month to sign up. So again, signing up fast is good. Just like most things, you want to be first on the list, but also make sure you're monitoring the different activities that haven't come out yet, because that is a great experience, and also would be a very bad thing to do if you miss some of the activities you want to go to. Also, right now, I would urge you guys to get a pen, piece of paper, get a pencil, get your phone out, write down the different activities you want to attend, because this is a great resource for you guys, knowing, getting a little bit of information on each different activity. So again, get something to write information down with, because there will be a lot of information thrusted towards you. But after that is done, I will hand it over to Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Guttridge for the Honor Guard Academy. Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Guttridge, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, hi, I'm Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Guttridge from Fort Vancouver. So I went to Honor Guard in Colorado Springs at the Air Force Academy in summer of 2018 and 2019. I think this is definitely one of the best activities I've gone to, and I highly recommend it. Kind of what you do when you're there is you just really learn how to be professional and learn a lot about like flag etiquette. But when you first get there, the first couple days really reminds you of basic encampment. It's you're relearning drill to do it the Honor Guard way. So it's a lot like basic encampment the first couple days. But I think of all the cadets who've gone there, I definitely can tell a difference in professionalism. But you learn drill, you learn new marching. You stand at attention. I think we held a salute one time for like 45 minutes. But it gets easy and it's a lot of fun, actually. Like, it may not sound fun, but it's a lot of fun. Then you get like practice wooden rifles about a couple days into it, and you learn basic drill with that. And if you go back a second year, sometimes your first year you'll learn how to like flip rifles and throw them in the air and catch them. Last year we did a presentation where we put someone in the middle and we were throwing rifles around them. So that was really cool. You work a lot towards putting a presentation together for your family at the end. That's the majority of it. You learn all the basic drills so that you can perform for them safely. You get access to the academy, which is really cool because you eat in Mitchell Hall and you get to go into the chapel. You get to go on the hiking trails and the gym and all their sports stuff. You get to try. You get a lot of free time too. Even if you're like a airman first class, you're treated as if you are a cadet officer. So you get, I think we had 5 or 6 hours. Usually they want you to do that you can practice with other people, but you can go on hikes around the trails. You can go to the BX, a thrift shop. Just basically explore the academy. We were at the prep school for a lot of it, so we stayed around there, but we got to go up to the main campus and we got to march on that. And that was really cool. And then you just meet a lot of new friends. I have a couple friends who I met my first year, and they live in Nebraska, Utah, California, like all over the country. And then they came back a second year. So it's really cool to see them again. And then when you go to other activities, you see them there, and it's really cool. So recommend you guys go there. You guys have any questions about that?
All right, if there are no questions, I will add a little bit about this, or a little bit about NCSAs in general. One thing that I've found about NCSAs while attending them is, just like in Camet, it puts you in a really stressful environment where you're learning a lot of new things. And the people that you go there with, you're going to become immensely close with. You guys basically spend the whole week or 2 weeks that you're there together the whole time. You form friendships and connections that will probably last you your whole life. And so overall, if you're going for the knowledge aspects, that's great. But another huge aspect when considering going to NCSAs or any CAP activity is the people that you're going to make, or the friends you're going to make at the different academies. Our next presentation will be about National Blue Beret and the flight line marshaling aspects of that. So Cadet Captain McCall, I will hand the presentation over to you.
Outstanding. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Hey, guys. Good morning. I'm Cadet Captain McCall here from the beautiful, sunny Oregon wing here to talk to you about National Blue Beret and the flight line marshaling, as always. So a little bit about the mission of National Blue Beret. It really comes down to 2 words, and that's servant leadership. So there's a lot of stuff you do at National Blue Beret, especially working in the flight line, just all the different jobs. I'll get into that in a second. But really what you're learning there is servant leadership. So everything, the mission comes first, is kind of our motto. Everything in the mission four hours a day. I come back to the campus, take a lot of naps. But basically, the day-to-day for National Blue Beret, you're getting up probably 0600, 0630. You're rushing through
You may not be aware, but we seem to be, at least I'm having some audio difficulty hearing you, sir.
Yes, I'm also unable to hear Cadet Captain McCall. So I will take over the presentation unless he is able to recover his signal. I have not been to National Blue Beret, but I have experience at the Arlington Fly-In, which is the second biggest flight line marshaling activity for CAP, second only to National Blue Beret at Oshkosh. And One of the things about that I know so far is since AFI is not an NCSA, NBB goes farther in regards to what the cadets are able to do and how much they learn. Again, it's flight line marshaling, so you learn how to park airplanes similar to traffic directing, I guess. But along with that, you also learn different different aspects of the activity or the national event, because Oshkosh is, of course, the biggest airplane show, I believe in the US or maybe in North America. So it's a very big show. So having the opportunity to marshal for something that big is definitely a great experience. I can take questions on it. Again, I probably will not be able to answer them if they are too in depth. But if you have any questions about the activity, I am open to hear them. All right. If we hear from Captain McCall later, I will of course give him the opportunity to present again, but I will turn it over to Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Gorham for Cyber Academy.
Thank you very much, Cadet Major Sholey. So as introduced, I am Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Bradley Gorham from the Tri-Cities Composite Squadron here in Washington Wing. I'll be talking about the CAP National Cyber Academy. Just a little bit of a note, I did not actually get to attend CAP National Cyber Academy. It is a new NCSA that hasn't actually taken place yet. I was privileged to attend the Cyber Defense Training Academy, which CNCA is the replacement for, but I was able to attend as a basic student in 2018 and go again for the advanced course in 2019. So I'll be talking a little bit about my experiences, and I'm assuming they're going to be similar for CAP's new program that they're rolling out with in the CAP National Cyber Academy. So if you've done Cyber Patriot before and you want to learn more about cybersecurity, or again, you want to go to an activity to make some more friends, learn some new things, try some different experiences, or you want to be able to help serve your country by keeping our computer network secure through cyber safety, then I would definitely recommend this activity. Cybersecurity is constantly changing, and it takes experts to be able to keep up with that knowledge and to stay on top of things because hackers are getting more and more advanced. And at this academy, you get to learn from active Air Force cyber operators and civilian professionals who do this stuff for a living. So they're really good at instructing the material. They know what they're talking about. They stay up to date constantly with what are some of the newest things coming out. So you get some really great instruction throughout this week-long activity. There are 3 different ones that are offered, at least in 2019. With COVID, this might be a little bit different, but they offer a CNCA at Maryland, as well as Texas. I got to go to San Antonio, Texas for my 2 years and see the Cyber Defense Training Academy. They also offer one for NCSA Credit, which is the Greater Lakes Region Cybersecurity Academy in Grand Rapids, Michigan. That was actually the only activity that was able to be held virtually over 2020 as an NCSA. So there are 3 different ones. The curriculum for all of them is fairly similar, and I would assume the activity experience is very similar, but there's different ones depending on where you live and whichever one would be the best fit for you. So over the course of this week-long activity, it's very challenging. There's a lot of material that you have to go over and learn, but you also get to build skills with teamwork, working with your team, critical thinking, and all of the cyberspace knowledge as well. At the end of the week, you and your team members get to compete against other teams at the activity in the GradX competition, similar to Cyber Patriot, except there's a red team or team of cyber hackers who is trying to attack your machine as you're trying to defend it. So there's that little bit of extra challenge there, and it's a really fun competition at the end of the week to be able to test your knowledge to see how much you've learned. So this activity is really nice because there's really no minimum age requirement other than basic encampment. It says on the NCSA website that it's listed as 14. I actually got to go at 13 years old by emailing one of the contact emails and requesting an exemption. So there's really no age limitation if that's a concern of yours to go to the CAP National Cyber Academy. You just have to make sure that you have that basic encampment credit. So again, if you are looking for opportunities to further your cyberspace knowledge, to maybe get some more experiences, see how the military handles the world of cyberspace, and build some really good career experience going to different activities, I would definitely recommend checking out the Civil Air Patrol National Cyber Academy. So if you have any questions, I will take those at this time.
All right. If there are no questions, it looks like Captain McCall is back with us on mobile. So I will give him the floor again to present. Hopefully, we have no more internet problems throughout the rest of the meeting. So McCall.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Affirmative. All right. Trying to remember where I was. I think I was just talking about some of the day-to-day activities. Hopefully the power stays on this time. Yeah, so you can find yourself doing a wide range of activities at National Blue Beret. All of them are going to be centered around servant leadership. And just to double check, you guys can hear me. Everything's okay there?
Very clear.
Outstanding. So one of the big ones that we talk about, as you can see in the pictures, is flight line marshaling. However, that's only going to be depending on your shift. Some days you may not even end up on the flight line. That's going to be 2 to 4 hours of your day. There's also a lot of other things we do for the Experimental Aircraft Association as well. And so if you didn't know, National Blue Beret is centered around EAA, the Experimental Aircraft Association's AirVenture. So every year they have AirVenture. It's like the largest fly and air show in the world. If I'm not correct on that, someone fact check me. And basically all these planes are flying in, everyone gets together. There are there's a lot of people there, right? A huge presence from the military and all these aviation corporations. So you're going to get free time. You're going to be able to explore EAA or the AirVenture. It's basically like a huge festival, right? So you go around to all the tents. You're going to meet a lot of cool people. I know I got to meet the Secretary of the Air Force at the time, as well as General Marianne Miller. I got to meet the Vice National Commander again, General Felka. I got to meet some of my best friends to this day. As far as just going back to the activities, so you have emergency services. They are going to train you during the first week because over a course of about 2 weeks, they're going to train you in these ES protocols. They're going to train you as a UDF or urban direction finding team member. They're going to train you in flight line marshaling. They're going to train you as a mission radio operator. You can man the radio shack. They're going to assign you in different shifts. So there's the radio shack in charge of communications. There's these little, golf carts. You go around AirVenture looking for lost planes possibly downed planes. They let us know that one's missing and we go find it. Is basically how that works out. Or there's ultralights, if you know what those are. Some of them are motored. Some of them are otherwise powered. It's just weird. But they're basically little light planes. It's really awesome. Just a lot of exciting opportunities there. You can do security is one of the jobs that cadets are actually assigned to. So we'll provide security for the military flight line because people just don't know when not to walk behind a jet, apparently. So that's just a couple things. I haven't even really on all of them, and I wish I had more time to do that. But there's a lot of awesome opportunities at National Blue Beret for the activities. There are 2 big graduation requirements. One to unless you have some sort of learning, if you have to memorize the National Blue Beret Creed, which is basically a live by. I don't think I know, or I don't have enough time to recite it for you, or I would. Now, the second graduation requirement is basically going to be that you serve the entirety of the 2 weeks in adherence to the core values. We had 2 cadets last year when I attended that did not graduate, and that was because of a core value failure. Generally, the core value of integrity. So some things to keep in mind. Prerequisites for attending National Blue Beret, you're going to need to be 16. This is due to Wisconsin labor laws, so not so negotiable. You do have to be 16 by the time National Blue Beret begins, and you do have to be at least a cadet airman having attended encampment. Personal experience, my last little segment. I just want to let you know, probably my favorite thing in Civil Air Patrol, probably the reason I'm in it today, is because I did attend National Blue Beret last year. I made a lot of friends, a couple of best friends, and a massive family made up of basically the entire Beret community. I've seen throughout the time I've spent in the Beret community, online, in person, that when one of us needs something, whether it's in Civil Air Patrol, outside of Civil Air Patrol, the community really comes together and provides for that person. And it's just a really beautiful thing. I think you'll see that in a lot of other NCSAs as well. So it's really everything I had. Sorry for the little failure in power earlier. If you had any questions, I'd love to take some now.
All right, if there are no questions, thank you, Cadet Captain McCall, for your presentation. So moving past National Cyber Academy and the other Cyber Academy, we will go to National Flight Academies. So Cadet Captain Ferreira, the floor is now yours for NFAs.
Morning, my name is Cadet Captain Ferreira. I went to National Flight Academy twice, specifically Desert Eagle, which is Washington Wings Flight Academy. Desert Eagle is a special NFA. We became an NCSA about 2 years ago. So it's special because there are two tracks in Desert Eagle. One is powered and one is glider, or there are actually two gliders. At other NFAs, you're only gonna get like powered, like specifically powered or specifically glider. There's not both. And at Desert Eagle, there is both, which is what makes it special. So powered and glider, they're both gonna cost $800. There are a lot of scholarships for this, so don't let money prevent you from attending. And even though it's $800, it's still going to be a lot cheaper for about 10 hours of flight, which is what you get at National Flight Academies. That's a lot cheaper than what you'd get if you start flight training at a commercial flight training school. It'd be about, I'm guessing, $400 less for 10 hours. So it's a great bargain. For glider, at Desert Eagle, there are two tracks of glider. One's basic and one's advanced. I'll go over the differences between those now. So for basic, you're going to be focusing on just learning how to fly the plane, learning controls. You're basically just going to be flying around the pattern, which is like if you have a runway, you're just going to be going up, around the runway, and back down. And it seems like it's only like a small amount of flying, but really there's a lot to learn just on the pattern. Taking off and landing is something that takes a while to figure out. And even just being in the air, flying straight is a big challenge to learn. So and then for advanced, you're going to be building on those skills that you did at basic. You're going to be start flying higher, about 3,000 feet, whereas basic, you're going to be 1,000 feet just for the pattern. So you're going to be flying around. You're going to be doing, hopefully you can do some cool stuff like learning how to do thermals. My year, we didn't get to do that, but that's some cool stuff that you can do. And your flights are going to be a little bit longer during advance. But I'd say the biggest difference between them is the way that you get into the air. For basic, what we did is we had ground tow. I think it's auto tow. So you're going to be pulled up into the air. You're going to be attached to a truck, which is going like 55 miles per hour. And the truck just goes straight on the runway. And then the airplane, the glider behind it is detached and it just goes like straight up, and it's amazing. It's really cool. For advanced, you're going to be attached to a powered airplane instead, which will take you a lot higher. So those are the main differences between the gliders. There's also an optional ground school, at least at Deagle, which is $100, and it just helps you to get through to pass your FAA written test, which is one of the requirements to get your private pilot's license. So yeah, solos, those are a big part of national flight academies, and they're what you're going to be working towards the entire time, but they are not guaranteed. For glider, I would say that you're more likely to be able to solo, but definitely for everything, all national flight academies don't expect to solo. It's going to be really cool if you do get the opportunity, and most gliders students do get that opportunity, but it's never guaranteed. So yeah, a typical day would look like I would get up at 4:30. Everybody would get up at 4:30. It's kind of hard, but you just have to get used to it. It's just something that you have to do. Eat a quick breakfast, get out on the flight line, do your pre-flight check, and start flying. And you do that until 3 o'clock. When it would get too windy or too sunny, or you'd get too tired, and you'd come back inside, do some ground school, study a little bit, and have some free time. So the biggest benefits I'd say is just to get to learn how to fly. If you're going to National Academy, I would really hope you want to go to learn how to fly. You do get solo and pre-solo wings. You're probably going to get your pre-solo wings, but don't go to National Flight Academy if you only want your wings. They look pretty cool, but don't go if you just want to have that patch or the badge, because it is a lot of work. And yeah, it's a lot of work. I would describe the intensity there. It's not basic encampment kind of intensity. It's more like I got to get stuff done and I got to learn stuff so I can solo. So it is intense, but not the same sort of intensity as basic encampment. You also have a close-knit group of friends like any NCSA. You're going to be spending a lot of time with the same group of people, so you get to really know them. You get to make fun nicknames for each other. So it's a lot of fun. 10 hours of flying, which I mentioned before, and you get to study for and hopefully pass the FAA written if you go to the optional ground school. Other smaller benefits, like I said before, you can build connections with other cadets, which are helpful in the future. You get a pool day at Deagle, which is very fun. It's a small part of the fun. Don't go to Desert Eagle if you just want to go to the pool. There's also a pretty sunrise. It genuinely is just so beautiful. The entire sky just lights up orange. It shines orange on like literally everything. The ground, I don't know how black can turn orange, but really it does turn orange. Like the ground, it's orange, and then the wings orange, your skin orange. So it's actually so beautiful. So yeah, there's a pretty sunrise. You get to learn how to think on your feet, which is very important for flying. For glider, you get a lot of rope breaks sometimes. When you're going into the air, the rope sometimes will break, so you have to figure out what you have to do in those situations, so that way you're staying safe. And then it's also great college essay material. I wrote about 2 essays about my experience at Deagle, and I applied to multiple colleges with those essays. So yeah, and the great bragging rights. On the powered side, I was supposed to go this year for 2020. Unfortunately, it was canceled. But for powered, it's going to be focused a lot more on ground school, of course, because there's engines, there's a lot more flights, instruments, and controls that you have to figure out. So there's an engine. So yeah, you have to figure that out. You're gonna be flying in the morning, I think it is, and you're getting an hour of flight a day. So yeah, that's the powered side of it. Are there any questions for me? All right, thank you.
All right, if there are no questions, I will move over to the last cadet presentation on NCC, or National Cadet Competition. Just a little bit about this. Contrary to all the other NCSAs, the sign-up process for this is a little bit different. The presenter will get into that when she presents. So I will hand this over to Cadet Second Lieutenant Andrea Bulkey. The floor is yours.
All right, hello everybody. I'm Cadet Second Lieutenant Andrea Balke. I have done 4 years of Cadet Color Guard competition, and last year in 2019, my team was able to go to the national cadet competition, which was pretty amazing. Obviously, your goal at this competition is to get first place, or as close as you can get to that. There are 16 teams altogether, and it's pretty hard to get disqualified from it. So, yeah, so 16 teams in that, and then once you get there, it's a weekend long activity, so it's not as long as most of the other NCSAs. So you get there, and then you have a little briefing, and then the next morning is when you start all the competitions. So everybody's competing in a whole bunch of different aspects, including aerospace and leadership knowledge. You've got some drill, both unarmed and armed drill. Then there's some rifle and flag maneuvers. So you're presenting indoors and also outdoors. We compete in PT, overall drill knowledge, couple of presentations. Also, we competed in TLPs. So that helped a lot with them evaluating our communications and problem solving skills. My team actually got first place in that one. That was pretty cool. My personal experience in this, it was a great team bonding activity. Just over the weekend, my team probably got as close as they'll ever get. We hang out a lot. We're pretty inseparable. I think I'm never going to forget my team. There's, as I said before, there's 16 teams from across the nation. There's actually one team from Puerto Rico last year. So it's great to see such a diverse group of people competing to get first place in this. Also, if you're not able to get into this to compete, you can apply for a staff position. There are a couple of staff positions you can do. You can be PAO, or you can be cadet commander. I think there's a couple of others. Also, at the end of the weekend, we went to an Air Force museum, spent a couple of hours there, which was pretty fun. The way you get into this is you have to get first place at your wing cadet competition, and then you have to get one of the top 2 places at the regional competition, and then in the summer you're able to go to national competition. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
All right. That was our last class presenter for the cadets that have attended these activities. I'm going to go over the next 10 activities. This is just from the knowledge that I've accumulated with my time as a cadet and using Google and the 2 websites that I have shown you. So we will get into that. Again, disclaimer, I'm not 100% knowledgeable on each of these activities. So if I miss the information a little bit, don't blame me too harshly. But the first activity I will be talking about is NESA, or the National Emergency Services Academy. So this activity is mainly emergency services focused, as you could probably tell from the name. They do a lot of field activities. It's similar to Washington Wing Zone Fest, except of course it's a national activity and it's way longer. But cadets get experience in the field with search and rescue. They go and can probably get their ground team ratings, even though of course bling on your uniform is not something you should attend an NCSA for. You should go for the experience and for the knowledge you get there, as well as the friends you make there. But nonetheless, you can get your qualifications, your evaluation signed off. Again, like I said at the beginning, this is also a very high level senior member activity. So if you have senior members that are interested in search and rescue, or cadets interested in search and rescue, this is definitely a great activity for them. The next activity I will be talking about is the Aircraft Maintenance and Manufacturing Academy. So similar to flight academies, this is in the field of aviation, but instead of flying aircraft, you are looking at designing aircraft and fixing aircraft. So this is for cadets who want to go into those mechanical fields like engineering or mechanical engineering. It's for cadets that have a love of aviation and design. So if you're interested in those aspects, definitely check out this flight academy. Again, all the information for these activities can be found on the two websites that I've linked, ncsa.com and the CAP website under Cadet Activities. So if you're interested in going to any of these activities, make sure you check them out on that website. The next one I will be talking about is the Specialized Undergraduate Pilot Training Familiarization course. So this activity, similar to flight academies again, is aviation related, but instead of flying, it's mostly simulations of fighter pilots, as well as hearing different presentations from actual Air Force fighter pilots and I believe Navy fighter pilots. So if you're interested in joining aviation for that reason, specifically becoming a military flyer, this is definitely an activity for you. I know a cadet who is now a senior member that attended this activity. He had an amazing time. He also recently got his private pilot's license. So this is definitely for cadets in that aviation field. So if this is something that interests you, definitely look about that. The next activity I will talk about is Cadet Aviation Grad School. I have had some experience with this because like I said, and like Captain Ferrier said, our flight academy, the Washington Wing Desert Eagle Flight Academy, does offer a grad school. So this would be similar to that in the ways that it teaches you FAA regulations, weather things, just all the things a pilot should know when they go to take their FAA written test and then get their private pilot's license. It's a lot of the textbook knowledge for what not to do and what to do in regards to flying. I had the opportunity to do a grad school online thanks to the Desert Eagle Flight Academy since it was canceled this year. It was a great experience. I know cadets who were in the same class as me that have taken their FAA test and passed. I'm going to take it hopefully in the next week or so. So hopefully I will pass that and then be on the move to get my private pilot's license. But again, Cadet Aviation Grad School is like the textbook knowledge for flying. The next activity I will talk about is the Model Aircraft and Remote Control Flying Academy. So this is similar to a flight academy. It is classified as a flight academy, but it is for UASs and UAVs. So those are drones similar to like hand-controlled smaller toy like helicopters. But of course, these are expensive aircraft that you are going to be flying. Similar to Lieutenant Bulky's presentation, we did do some UASs at NCC in 2019. I believe this is going to be an entirely different field, so I do not have any knowledge on these types of drones and these types of flying aircraft, but definitely if you were into the UAS systems and drone systems, this is definitely for you. I know at my basic encampment, one of our guest presenters was a technical sergeant in the Air Force who flew UASs for a living. So if that is an interest in your career pathway, this is definitely an activity for you. Another activity that takes place at the Air Force Academy, similar to the Honor Guard Academy, is the Air Force Space Command Familiarization course. So this, similar to SUPTFAM, doesn't actually take you up in space. You don't actually go and be an astronaut, but you get to fly astronaut simulators and learn a lot of the knowledge that astronauts and people in the space command of the Air Force and the newly formed Space Force are going to be, they're going to need to know. You get a lot of training in that aspects, like astrology, the study of stars, planets, different things similar to like the last two chapters of your aviation aerospace textbook. So if that's something that you want to do, if you want to join the Space Force or go to the Air Force Space Command and have that as a primary job, then this is definitely for you.
Major,
Yes.
can I speak to that? Because I went to
Yes,
the
sir.
Air Force
That
Space
would be great.
down at Vandenberg Air Force Base. They're not offering Vandenberg at the moment. They're planning on bringing it back, I've heard, in 2022. We were able to tour Minuteman Silos, Slick 6, where they launched the heavy lift national reconnaissance satellites, which are like the size of school buses. It's a lot of touring. We got to tour what they called Houston West, which is just, you've seen Houston Space Center where they monitor the ISS and other launches. They have equivalent of that at Vandenberg. The purpose of Vandenberg is actually to launch satellites in a polar orbit, which is north to south. The two that are offered now with Civil Air Patrol is Peterson, which you were just talking about, which is probably going to become, it's one of 6 bases that are slotted to be potentially the headquarters of Space Force. And then the other one is down at Cape Kennedy, which you get quite a tour of the current space launch systems that we have in America. But if you're interested in space or aerospace at all, I highly recommend it. It was quite fascinating. You get to see things that most civilians never get to see.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Wallace. One thing I want to add before I continue, I will be taking questions for all these at the end, but if you have prior knowledge or you've been to one of these activities, specifically senior members or cadets, please let me know and I will definitely let you talk about these activities because, again, I do not have the supreme knowledge on all these activities. So any information from you guys in order to benefit the cadets and senior members listening in on this presentation would be extremely helpful. So thank you again, Lieutenant Colonel Wallace, for the information that you provided. The next activity I will be talking about is the Air Force Civil Engineering Academy. So similar to the different engineering academies, this one is more for civil engineering, so like architecture, physics, things of that nature. So if you're looking into a career in those sides of engineering, like construction or civil engineering as a major, this is definitely something that you would want to attend and look into attending. From what I've gathered from this is something that I would be interested in just because of what my life goals are and my aspirations. So definitely, if you are interested in these things, look into attending that. I will have Cadet McCall, because he has attended this event, I will have him speak a little bit on this activity. Cadet McCall, are you experiencing technical difficulties or are you all good to go?
Did you say Hawk Mountain? Because that's
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you'd mentioned the other academy. I must have spaced out. Yeah. So if we want to talk about Hawk Mountain a bit, I can touch on that for sure. Hawk Mountain Ranger School. It's kind of like NISA, as he was talking about before. So it goes through and it teaches you a lot of these ground team skills, things like that. Some of your mission-based skills, depending on the course you want to go to. However, on the flip side, its main focus a lot of the time is really a survival school. So a ranger school, as in the name, Hawk Mountain Ranger School. It's in Kempton, Pennsylvania, right on the Appalachian Trail. So it's a bunch of mountains. If you don't know what those are, there's a Appalachian mountain range, right? Very long, basically hiking trip. What it's like is you go kind of like with NISA, and you're going to start learning a lot of those basic ground team skills. Or if you're in the mission radio operator course, you're going to start to learn a lot of the communication skills. Then there's going to be a 3-day exercise, basically, as what's the name I'm looking for? A grade X, right? So they're going to be grading your exercise, and it's going to determine whether or not you graduate. But they're going to be testing you on a lot of those skills. So imagine you go to this school, you learn a bunch of stuff with all your friends, you sleep under the stars, and then you go hike for 3 days, and you have to show your cadre that you understand the material that they've been teaching you. Then you're going to come back to the camp. I didn't have anything prepared for this. I'm regretting that. You're going to come back basically to the base where the main campus is, and you're going to just have a good time. Like the last 2 days, you're really just sitting down, you're talking about the experiences, and you're talking more about the esprit de corps aspect of being a Hawk Mountain Ranger. And you're just learning about that. If you have questions, I'd love to answer any.
All right. Thank you, Cadet McCall. Sorry I put you on the spot a little bit. The next activity I will be talking about is similar to Hawk Mountain in its emergency services aspect, kind of, is the Parajump Rescue Orientation course. So one of the things I've heard about this activity, it is probably one of the hardest physically activities for cadets to participate in. Parajumpers, if you don't know, they're the people that jump out of really high places with parachutes. So I'm guessing you learn how to survive after that jump and just the different emergency services and survival aspects of that. So I'm guessing this builds off of your emergency services knowledges from, say, NISA or FEST or Hawk Mountain. and utilizing those skills, you move forward in survival and emergency services. Excuse me. Lieutenant Colonel Wiggs has attended ICE when he was a cadet. So Lieutenant Colonel Wiggs, if you'd like to talk a little bit about this, we only have about 22 minutes left in the class. So keep that in mind during your presentation.
Are you implying that I talk a lot?
No, sir, I would not do that.
As mentioned, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Sid Wiggs. Been in Civil Air Patrol for many years. I was a cadet in the 70s. International Air Cadet Exchange, or IACE, was formed in 1946, and it's a association of aviation-oriented countries, and it changes from year to year. Currently, there's roughly 20 some odd countries involved with it. I had the privilege of attending in 1976 when I was a cadet in North Carolina, and I was a guest of the United Kingdom. In our group, we had cadets from Spain, Sweden, all over the United States, and Canada as well. And in the time that we were there, we spent some time in London, and we spent some time at Swanton Morley Royal Air Force Base. While I was there, I got the privilege to log a few hours in World War II gliders. It was a ground tow, winch tow launch, and these were basically balsa and canvas open cockpit gliders that we were able to fly in. The experience also included some time in local cadet units, the Air Training Corps in the UK, and we spent some time in Scotland, and in particular in Stirling, the local unit hosted a banquet for us, and we had a traditional Scottish banquet, bagpipes and sword dances. We didn't get to do that. It was a demonstration. I'd probably be legless if I'd tried to do the sword dance, but it was a really great experience, and spent some time all over the United Kingdom. And some of the countries that, at least recently, are included in the list: Australia, Belgium, Canada, France, Germany, Japan, the Netherlands, the Philippines, and Singapore are all some of the most recent countries that are involved in that. It's a great learning and growth experience, and I highly recommend it. I consider it to be one of the premier events for Civil Air Patrol, and it's also open to senior members as escorts for the trip. So that's it.
Thank you, sir, for that presentation.
You're very welcome.
The last two NCSAs that I will be presenting are virtual, so the information I have probably is going to be a little bit different because this was taken when it was not virtual. But the first one is the Civic Leadership Academy. This Leadership Academy, similar to COS, is for upper level cadets, most likely officers or at least senior NCOs or chiefs, but I believe just officers. And they learn about the civic side of leadership. So government, business management, things of that nature. Definitely a great experience for cadets who want to go into politics or things like constitutional law. Definitely great aspects for cadets in that field. But similar to COS, I imagine the hours are long and you do essays and learn a lot of information from a lot of very important people, both Civil Air Patrol, active military, government officials, things of that nature. So if you're definitely interested in doing something like that for a career, this is definitely an opportunity for you. I believe Civic Leadership Academy is free because it's online, or that might be the next one. But talking about the next one, this is the National Character and Leadership Symposium. So Similar to COS again, this has a lot of presentations, but instead of being focused on cadet leadership development, it'll be focused on leadership aspects and again, leadership development, but instead of essays, you'll be focusing on listening to speakers and the information that they convey. So again, if you're interested in leadership symposiums and leadership classes, definitely COS, NCLS, and CLA, as well as going away from the NCSA topic, RCLS, we're fortunate enough to have the cadet commander, Cadet Lieutenant Gorham. I'm not going to have him speak, but just leaders, there's lots of leadership opportunities for cadets who want to improve themselves as leaders, even as high grades such as lieutenant colonels and colonels. So definitely, if you're interested in growing as a leader, sign up for these activities. It's a great experience. But that concludes my NCSA overview part of the presentation, and now I will be talking about signing up for NCSAs. So again, NCSAs were open December 7th to January 15th. So make sure you sign up early because that'll look good, and sign up for all the activities you want to do. Make sure you're monitoring that ncsa.com so you know when different activities come out. Again, look at the age requirements and the rank requirements. It would be a very high shame if you were to sign up for something and not be able to participate in that. But keeping that in mind, I will show you guys how to register because I have not yet registered for any NCSAs. So as you see, I'm signing into e-services. This is of course something available to everybody. I will go to personnel, I believe, and then registration and payment systems. So using this, you can see activities applications. I will go over to application, create activity application, and then there will be a bunch of personal information here, and then my preference. So this is how you will apply for NCSAs. This is the list of all the NCSAs here. Let's say I want to go to National Blue Beret because Cadet Captain McCall, he inspired me with my flight marshaling passion. So what I'll do is I will select it. I will hit this button here, and it will be my #1 choice. So it's important when you select different activities, you put them as precedents because going through the grading system, you're most likely to get your #1 choice instead of your #5 choice. So make sure you put the order of which you want them, the order that they're selected. But I'm not going to officially do this right now. That's something that I'll do later. And so if you're interested in doing that, again, registration and payment system and e-services. Now, there is no limit to the number of activities you can apply for. So if I had wanted to, I could have selected every single activity going down to probably 50 or 60 that are listed there right now. Make sure when you're selecting them, you don't hit staff because that of course is either for senior members or cadet staff who have already attended the activity, unless of course you want to do staff for those activities. But the last topic that I will be talking about before I take questions on the NCSAs that we covered is the point system. So the point system, again, can be found on the Cadet Special Activities application instructions. And right here, this graph is how you will be selected for NCSAs. So a little bit about this. For all your achievements or your age and things like that, you will get a certain number of numeric points. And then those points will be added out and looked at when they are deciding if you're going to be selected for an NCSA. Again, it also helps if you're early or if you have experience in those activities because the people that are looking at this and passing you on from either wing, region, and national, they're going to be looking at you, looking at what you've done, looking at your achievements, looking to see, hey, this cadet doesn't really have a lot of flight passion. Maybe he's just doing it for the wings, which is, I know, something that some cadets do. So making sure that you are signing up for all the things you can and all the things you want to do is a great thing to do. But let's just, for an example, I'll do myself and see how many points I can come up with. I'm a 17-year-old Earhart cadet, so that's 22 points. I've been in CAP for around 3 years, so that's 31 points, and I've gone to 2 NCSAs, so that is a total of 36 points. So again, as you can see, age has priority because if you're going to phase out, they want to make sure that you have the experience to go to some of these NCSAs. Again, promotions, you're getting your spots award awards you the most points because it shows you're invested in the Civil Air Patrol Cadet program. Along the length of your service in CAP, that will also play a role because again, they want to make sure cadets who are invested get the opportunities over cadets who are either have a long time in the program or are not as invested. And then of course, if you've gone to no prior activities, they want to make sure that, hey, this cadet hasn't gone to an activity. He should probably have priority over someone who's gone to National Blue Beret 4 times. So one thing I want to add is green lighting. So that's for when, from what I understand, each wing has a certain number of green lights that they can give to a cadet who they want or who they know or who they want to have attended this specific activity. So if you are, there's no way to apply this, but if you are green lighted for a specific activity, you will get 100 points added to your score. And because, like I said, my total point value, I believe, was 36, that'll definitely play a huge factor in which activities you can attend. Now, once you have submitted all the things for your activity, you will be placed as alternate until the things come out. Once the outcomes have come out for who has been slotted, if you have been slotted for the activity, you will be primary and you will be one of the primary cadets going to the activity. If you are not, you will be posted as an alternate. And then if a cadet who is a primary either decides not to attend the NCSA or does not meet the requirements, they will be moved from primary to alternate. And then a cadet at the alternate level will be brought up to the primary level. So now that is all I can offer you for the application process. So if you guys have any questions regarding any part of the presentation, or if you would like to hear some stuff from the cadet cadet presenters, now is the time for that. So I'm open to questions. All the cadets who presented and senior members who presented are open to questions. Just let us know.
Could I just make a comment, Major
Yes, ma'am.
I've been involved with the selection process and on that green lighting actually too. And green lighting is going to go either to somebody that we know that is playing a cadet leadership role in the wing most often, whether it be at Fest, whether it be at a conference, whether it be at encampment, whether it be at WAMA. It's somebody who's actually giving above and beyond usually. And also sometimes it gets also given to somebody who's going to a super hard, like a PJOC, to get into that activity is also looked at what activity they're applying for. As somebody who gets to actually make that selection for Desert Eagle, then we can take a look at what number you were. And usually if it's not number one, possibly number two for your selection, we will not even look at that. Also, we will, unless you have 15 choices and they're all flight academies, and we are number 4, because if you don't get those you're determined to go to a flight academy, then you'll still get some priority with us. It's usually a committee decision, and so it's not just one person making those decisions, at least for our encampment.
Thank you, ma'am. Again,
So,
oh yes, go ahead.
sorry about that. Is there any specific website where we can check and apply for scholarships for various NCSAs?
Yes, that was the topic of the class last week, or excuse me, last month. So I can go over that a little bit. Primarily use the Cadet Invest option. There's a lot of flight scholarships there, leadership scholarships. I'm blanking on the term, but to advance your knowledge, those kinds of scholarships. There's scholarships basically for everything, like the Cadet Wings program. That is a great opportunity for flight scholarships. But Cadet Invest can be found on the same website, e-services. Just look through Cadet Invest, apply. I don't remember when applications close. I believe it's December 31st.
That's what I think too.
Yes, okay. So make sure you get all your stuff in for that. They also covered a number of other flight scholarships that I don't remember. But of course, there's lots of resources you can look at to find flight scholarships and scholarships for anything. I would say never let finance be the reason you don't attend an activity. There's always something someone can do to help you. Just be vocal about it. Reach out to points of contact that you know, cadets that you know that have attended these activities. I know when I went to the Washington Wing Flight Academy last year, I got a scholarship from the Dead Lions, and that was a great opportunity from me. I had the opportunity to thank them in person, but because of COVID, that was canceled. But I'm grateful for that because it, again, helped me get my solo and is the reason I can wear my solo wings. And it helped me a lot in my journey of flight. So never let finance be an option. Cadet Invest is probably the best thing you can do to apply for scholarships. And then Cadet Wings.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, no problem.
Also, don't be afraid to use your local Rotary, Kiwanis, Lions clubs. Go there, ask if you can present what you would like to do. Rotary for sure, and Kiwanis, I think both have youth scholarships to do anything educational. And so we've had some communities that had totally CAP committees in those clubs because they just kept giving scholarships to Civil Air Patrol cadets. You then needed to go present what you were going to do, go to the activity, and then go present afterwards that this is what I did at that activity.
So there was a question in the chat about flight academies. Is it recommended to attend a glider academy before one does a power academy? So you don't have to do glider before powered, but if you go through basic, then advanced, then to powered, you're going to get a lot of experience with flying airplanes. Even though it's not, glider isn't exactly powered, you're going to have that experience with stick and rudder skills, which will help you at your powered academy, and you'll be more likely to solo if you do go through all of those tracks before powered.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions? We have about 5 minutes left before the next class opens up, so we are here as a resource to you. Of course, you can email myself or some of the other cadet presenters if you wish. Just use my WAWing email. I'm free to answer questions, help you guys as much as I can. But if no one else has any questions, then I will turn the meeting back over to the WAMA Deputy Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Wiggs.
Could I just jump in real quick on Desert Eagle particularly?
Yes, ma'am, of course.
Desert Eagle particularly, we are, as of this morning, actually about 2 days ago, working seriously to get that ops plan through national, to get that onto the National Cadet website. We probably will have that no later than Tuesday or Wednesday. So again, I'm thinking it might be even actually a good thing for that, those of you that really want to attend that activity, because a lot of times people have already put their 1s, 2s, and 3s down and they don't know that more are adding in. So you give them really good advice, Major Sholay, about keep checking.
And one more comment, if I may, on the timeline for stuff. Is NCSA applications as posted is December 1st through January 15th. And they usually come out with slotting for all of the NCSAs within the first 2 weeks of March. So you'll be able to hear back then about if you did get selected as a primary for an activity. If not, be put on the alternate list.
All right. Thank you, one and all. Encampments will probably appear in the same process, but they don't typically appear until February, I believe, right in that time slot. I want to thank everybody. I'm going to throw a really quick poll out there for a critique of the class. And as soon as that poll is done, I will close the recording and we'll get ready for our next session. I want to thank everyone for attending. We appreciate you being here. And if you have any feedback, the polls don't allow for free texting, but if you have any feedback on how we can improve and then refine our system, please let me know. Let me launch this. There we go. And then on behalf of Colonel Weber, at the end of today, there will be a participation letter sent out to all the participants. Please, when you get that, make sure that your unit commander and personnel officer get copies of it in order to place into your personnel file.
One thing I'd like to add while you guys are taking the class, or the quiz, excuse me, I'd like to thank all the cadet instructors that helped me. You guys definitely helped me in the research aspect because I know I would have had to spend a lot more time looking up the information that you guys presented. So thanking you all by name. Thank you, Colonel or Lieutenant Colonel Maxwell, for your information on COS. Cadet Captain McCall for your emergency services as a umbrella term for all the activities you talked about. Lieutenant Colonel Gartridge for Honor Guard and also COS because she had attended that. Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Gorham for Cyber. Cadet Captain Ferreira for National Flight Academies, and Cadet Andrea Bulkey for National Cadet Competition. So thank all of you guys that chimed in with information. All of you guys did a lot of service to me as the main instructor, and I'm sure you guys helped a lot of the cadets that were listening in as to which activities they wanted to go to. So thank you guys a lot. You were a lot of help.
All right, looks like we're getting close to the end of the polling.
If anybody has any desire to instruct on one of these virtual WAMAs, please contact me or Colonel Wiggs. And also, if you have topics that you would like to see taught here for that hour and a half, please also contact us.
Very good. All right. Looks like we may be done. All right. I'm going to end the poll, then I'm going to share the results. All right. Well, thank you one and all once more for being here. And I will see many of you in approximately an hour. Ending the recording.